See, right here is a 500 gigabyte Western Digital Blue HDD. See, if you know, you know. This thing has been around for a long time. I'm not kidding you. It's been around for years. See, some of them actually does have the date on them. First, for you to know, this says 25th of September 2016. This is when this particular one possibly was manufactured, but the idea of a mechanical hard drive, a HDD, as some of you want to call it, has been around for a very, very long time. Once again, if you know, you know. See, a few days ago, I did make a video, just kind of freestyling. Sometimes I get a little bit bored and I just want to make some unconventional video. I did say in the video that, look, the hard drive is going to be done away with any moment from now because SSDs have become so cheap. But of course, as of today, the 19th day of November 2025, that has since changed because the prices of SSDs, they become very, very expensive again. But when I made this video about the HDD, I was saying that, look, given the fact that the SSD prices have become very cheap, this thing, the mechanical hard drive, is going to be done away with. This thing is slow. I mean, the technology itself, I'm not saying that the particular manufacturer, of course, is a manufacturer of repute, but the technology of the hard drive, it's kind of slow. If you install Windows on this thing, it's going to take years for it to boot up because at the time, this was what, was kind of standard. But right now, SSDs have become pretty much standard. But the thing is, when I made this video, just, making my own opinion that this is going to be done away with at some point, man, I received a lot of pushback. People say all sorts of stuff. People were saying, no, they're going to keep using this thing. It doesn't matter how slow the HDD is. People are still going to be using it. It's kind of a cheap option for storing large files. If you do not have money to buy 2 terabytes of, NVMe SSD or even a SATA SSD, a HDD might just be your best friend. Of course, I get it. People kind of have, difficulties today, making ends meet. And if you have 2 terabytes of this, for pretty much like 10 or 15 euros, that is way, 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 less expensive than what you would pay if you have to buy, a SATA SSD of comparable, storage size. See, people push back. Somebody even wrote on the comment section, I'm going to continue using HDDs until I die. At this point, I was like, wow, people really kind of fell in love with this thing. People do not want to change, even though it has been proven that installing your Windows operating system, or those of you that use Linux, on an SSD will definitely make your PC faster. But from the pushback that I received, I kind of imagine that a lot of people have said, you know what, we are going to continue using this thing. Doesn't matter if it's slow. I'm going to keep it on my PC. Sometimes I need it to store large files, especially when you edit YouTube videos like myself. You are going to pretty much find out that this thing is going to be your best friend because at some point, you're going to be needing space, to store your files, your edited videos. When you do not have, a cloud storage option, which I'm going to be talking about much later in a separate video. You don't have a cloud storage option. This might pretty much be your best friend. You're going to be storing your data, on this thing, your finished videos, stuff like that. This one right here is just a 500 gigabyte, pretty much small compared to what you will be needing. Perhaps you'll be needing something like 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, and so on and so forth. But then, because a lot of you kind of pushed back and told me that, look, HDDs is something that you will continue to use. It doesn't matter how, it doesn't matter when, it doesn't matter how cheap the SSDs have become, you continue to use it. I felt like, why not go ahead and put it on the hardware money shop? So if you go to the hardware money shop today, you should be able to lay your hands on a decent, Western Digital HDD, 500 gigabyte capacity. Of course, this is not all that we have there. We also have the 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes, depending on what you want. You can easily, get it there for a very, very, very cheap price. Of course, because people have pushed back, I actually was thinking of phasing this out from the hardware money shop, but definitely this thing has come to stay. There are still a lot of people that kind of fell in love with the fact that the HDDs, they are just very price friendly. Of course, still very, very, responsible in today's day and age. You can still store data on this thing. You can still write onto it. You can still read it, even though sometimes the read speed might just be a little bit, slow for me, for my liking personally. I want my drives to be as, fast as possible. I want my drives to be easily read from. If I want to copy large files on my drive, I don't want to wait 30 minutes just doing that. I want it to copy at the speed of light. But because people are still going to be using this thing, from the feedback I have gotten, definitely I'm going to be retaining this on the Hardware Money Shop. So if for one beautiful reason you are out there looking for responsible hard drives like this, 500 gigabytes, like I said, it doesn't matter the capacity, feel free to check out the Hardware Money Shop. We've got quite a number of these, looking very, very decent condition, clean. If I wouldn't tell you that this has been used or this, came into circulation in 2016, you are going to think that this thing just came out fresh from the factory. Everything looking pristine, looking fresh. Definitely something you want to consider. Of course, there are different drives in the market, all telling you we are refurbished, we are in good condition. But at the end of the day, you buy them, you bring them home, you test them, and realize that there are so many back sectors on them. This one has been checked for signs of defect. I have not found anything on this drive that makes it unusable. As a matter of fact, if you still plug it on your PC is going to detect it immediately. I'm telling you that you still can use this thing for years to come. Of course, if you are a big fan of HDD. I personally am not a big fan of HDDs. If you have seen on this channel, I have physically upgraded, hundreds of PCs, taking out the HDDs and just putting SSD in them, because I feel like this is the only way you can actually make a slow PC fast again, taking out the HDD and putting an SSD in it. But then you know what it is. Some people are saying, oh, we belong to the old school. We do not want to, take out what we came to fall in love with. We love the HDDs. Doesn't matter how slow they are, we're going to continue to use them. For such people, I encourage you to go to the Hardware Money Shop. You're going to find a link to this in the description of this video. Feel free to click on it, and you will definitely be glad you did. Until I see you again in the next video. Peace.